Are you looking to land your first job, or maybe your second job, but this time around you want to make more money? I want to share how I made some mistakes on my journey, so hopefully you can avoid making these mistakes too along your path. The first typical mistake, and something I experienced, would be insufficient mentorship. Starting a job can feel really overwhelming, especially if you don't have any mentorship or aligned mentorship with what you want to do or what you're practicing. Now, when I first started one of my clinical jobs in pediatrics as a pediatric clinical dietitian, I didn't have robust experience in peds. I learned about peds very little in my master's program as a clinical dietitian. But what I did when I got that job is I did find available help. So I found help by reading about pediatric nutrition and also by finding a certified lactation consultant who allowed me to shadow her and learn more about the nursing part of pediatric nutrition, which was fantastic. At that particular hospital, I was the only pediatric dietitian, which made me feel very lonely. And now, in retrospect, I wish I would have found another pediatric dietitian or something a little bit more aligned with specifically what the role of a dietitian is. Although the nurse was great, I feel like mentorship more directly related to the role I was playing would have been more helpful. I will say with that story, I did have mentorship and it was helpful and I learned a lot. But if you know anything about pediatrics, especially in the clinical setting, and maybe I'm not talking about private practice, but the pay was not fantastic. And there wasn't necessarily any specialized tests that I was aware of that would have helped me guarantee a pay raise, unlike diabetes. Now, there were a lot of diabetes educator dietitians at my hospital. I really wish I would have gotten mentorship with diabetes. Now, looking back, if I were to be doing it differently, I would have asked for mentorship around diabetes sooner. So I got mentorship within the area of peds. I wish I got mentorship with diabetes. Why? Because diabetes, as a certified diabetes educator, there's more opportunity to make more money, and that's a more desirable position. So I wish I did that. But in retrospect, it is what it is. I learned a lot about peds and breastfeeding, lactation, working with nurses and interdisciplinary staff. I had a lot of great experiences, despite some of the experiences that were frustrating. But looking back, that's what I wish I would have done when it comes to mentorship. The second mistake I made in my clinical job, preventing me from making more money, was not negotiating my pay rate and not doing a very good job of trying to make more money. Many individuals, especially dietitians, fail at negotiating when they are presented with their salary. It's important to advocate for yourself. Now, I will say because I was a newer dietitian, I felt more insecure about my skills. I had a lot of excuses that held me back from negotiating, but what I did do some negotiating, but it wasn't specifically for pay. I negotiated my working hours. So I was able to do a late shift, and that allowed me an opportunity to work more. And I did a good job at negotiating contracts as a private practice consultant, and I got paid really well for that. So there were some good things that I did with negotiating, but I kind of set myself up for burnout because what I do now, and it took me 5-10 years to do this, so I wish I would have learned sooner, was figuring out how to make more money with less time. And so that means making more money per unit of time. And that would have been me negotiating my initial salary. And I did not do that. I found ways to make more money, but it caused me more time. So I wish I would have done a better job. And there are tools like the Academy Salary Calculator. If you're a member, you have access to that tool, and that can help you learn and see how much you can negotiate up for standard pay based on some factors that can depend on your area, how large your hospital is, other duties that you're performing, etc. Lack of research was another mistake that I made in my clinical job. I didn't fully understand the culture of the organization, and I wish I would have learned that a little bit more. I will say that I worked for a teaching hospital, and I love that. And I knew it was a teaching hospital, and that helped advance me and help me work additional hours and find opportunities to make money and build connections, because the hospital was really advocating for teaching and learning. So that was a good thing about my situation that I appreciated. But what I wish I would have known a little bit more was that a lot of the patients that I worked with were very low on motivation on that stages of change model. And so because they weren't really interested in learning what the dietitian had to say, that made working very challenging, because I felt like people didn't want to talk to me, and I felt like the education piece in that particular role was not prioritized for the client or for a lot of the other providers. And so that was very, very difficult for me as a dietitian advocating for nutrition education. If you're a dietitian who's looking to upskill, you're looking to improve your communication and business skills so that you can find more opportunities, make money on the side, and even make more money as a dietitian in your current job, whether it's per diem or full-time, I want to invite you to join our Academy library. Check out this video. This is what access to our membership looks like. So you have a ton of lessons that you can access where we go over modules like growth mindset, creating your paid offer. We help you with setting expectations for your offer, different types of offers like courses and group. And we also show you how to set up one-on-one coaching, create ebooks and different digital products, and then learn how to create and set up a sales system. Additionally, we talk about a ton of other things in bonus sections with live calls to help you progress. Watch this next video on screen.